How much money are you leaving on the table? That's a question I want you to answer for yourself as we go through this video. This is a $220,000 lesson and mistake that I know you can benefit from. It's one of the common things that I see a lot when I privately coach doctors, entrepreneurs, business owners, and such. So I think you'll find this very valuable. So I was working with this client in the last year or so, and this woman was actually doing pretty well in her practice. She was doing over $1 million a year and was utilizing Facebook advertising, probably for the last 5-6 years at least. So that would usually end up in, an extra $20,000, $30,000 revenue for her office every single month based on what she was doing. And of course, sometimes it would be higher, lower, but it was pretty consistent and reliable. So once I began to look into her account and I noticed many things that she was doing very, very well, I asked her about the custom audiences. And I specifically said, why aren't there any custom audiences created? For example, people that have engaged with your fan page in the last 365 days, people that have been to your website in the last 6 months, people that have watched your videos 50% of the time and your custom email list, your client list. And she looked a little confused. So while she had one component that was doing really well for her with advertising, she was just totally oblivious to this other component. And then, we started to get these audiences created, and lo and behold, that led to a dramatic increase in her actual bottom line every single month. And so, after we were working together a few months, she started to calculate it out, and she's like, wow, it's likely over the last 5-6 years or so, we missed out on an extra $220,000 of revenue by not having these systems in place. Now, what I want you to realize about this is that your custom audiences on Facebook, they expire after a certain point. So you're not able to tap into them after 6 months or a year. I'll give you the example of website visitors, which is highly, highly effective if you do the follow-up and the sequencing correctly. As you may or may not know, Facebook has their own pixel that can be installed on your website. Once that pixel is installed, it's like a little cookie, piece of code that cookies computers. So if I were to go onto your website, well, my computer would be cookied, and you have the opportunity now to show me other types of content. And by the way, if you're coming onto this post and if you're finding value in this, smash that like button to show me you are listening. I was just referencing the custom audiences. And but the website visitors, as an example, you can go back 6 months, 180 days. Now, what this means is it's likely you're getting a tremendous amount of traffic from Google as one of those sources. And the great thing about Google is it's search traffic. So when people find you, well, they're more likely to take the next step in action without all sophisticated funnels and whatnot. It's a pretty cool thing, but while you might get a fraction of people that are either scheduling appointments, coming into your office, or buying stuff, your product or service, there's a large fraction of those people that are coming from highly qualified search traffic that are just flaking off for whatever reason. We don't control mom with 2 screaming kids in the background. Life gets in the way sometimes. So how are you following up with these individuals? Now, as an example, if the Facebook pixel is installed on your website, we can now show that person in different types of content to get them closer and closer to threshold so they pull the trigger. Or you could show them case studies, testimonials, and give a hard direct response ad to these individuals. Like, that would be one thing. Now, website audiences, you can go back 6 months. Video views, you can go back a year. This is what Facebook says. Some people say it's not entirely accurate. It's really hard to say, but if you go back a year with your videos, your video views, you should have an audience at least of people that have viewed your videos 50% of the time. And yes, you can make higher, like 75 and 100% as well, but if you're not tapping into it, you might be doing great on the front end like my client was, but she was missing out on all this extra stuff on the back, not to mention the incredible branding that as a result of people thinking that they see you everywhere. It's just such a powerful lesson. So one, you need to have your audiences created, and you have to know the expiration dates of those audiences so you can then follow up. I mean, if you've got a 6-month window to follow up with that website traffic, that's a decent size window that if you touch them multiple times per week, it's highly likely you're going to see the result, whether that's a new patient client in your office or a sale online. The same thing with people that have engaged with your Instagram profile in the last year, or that have engaged with your Facebook fan page in the last year with, if you're a local doctor within a 25-mile radius of your town and your address, or what have you. Or, if you've got your custom email audience that you've built that are clients or prospective clients, you can show them more and more things and just create that top of mind awareness. So the biggest mistake that this woman was making was not having all of those different audiences in place so she could follow up in sequence on a regular basis. And yeah, she was still doing really well on that front end profit, but she was missing out on a whole slew of revenue, exposure, market penetration, and just really becoming that celebrity expert because she didn't have those things in place. So my challenge to you is, if you don't have custom audiences set up, at a bare minimum, you want these ones. Anyone that's engaged with your Instagram profile in the last year, anyone that's engaged with your Facebook profile in the last year, your business page. The third one, you want people, like all of your videos together, anyone that's viewed all those videos for 50% of the time. You also want your custom email list that you've built uploaded directly to Facebook, and this could be a actual client list, or it could be a prospective client list, people that haven't either come into your office or have done business with you. At bare minimum, those should be the 4 audiences that you create to start off with. And yes, you could even segment certain video audiences by topic. You can create lookalike audiences as well based on your ideal client type. But in certain markets, lookalike audiences aren't nearly as accurate, and that's just going to be a case-by-case thing. So I wouldn't assume that it is. You have to do your own testing. However, I can't stress the importance enough of just about being able to sequence regularly. And you have to be really, really. I don't want to say it's easy to make a profit, get a lot of exposure, create goodwill if you do it this way, but it really is. It's not terribly complicated. It's just putting the systems in place, and if you don't have those systems, well, you need to reach out to somebody that can actually either help you or so you can get coached by them. So just wanted to point that lesson out for you today. Don't get caught in that scenario, even if you're doing exceptionally well on the front end. So any questions or comments, you guys post them down below and thumb that like button up if you found it valuable. I also have a special invitation for you if you'd like to learn really how to take your marketing, advertising with social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Snapchat to the next level. Join me in either the Bahamas or Atlanta. Our Bahamas event is at the end of April. You can learn more about it at www.ucam.fun, and our Atlanta event is going to publicly open up in probably about maybe 2 weeks. That's the Social Media Revenue Summit. And at those events, I basically share strategies that'll help you, if you're a local business, for example, like a chiropractor, how to attract an extra 30 to 50 new patients every month using new social media strategies. Things change periodically, so you need to keep up with the times. I'll teach you how to build a very lucrative personal brand. I'll show you how to use the internet in the top 10 ways that you can create passive income through social media. And it's a pretty phenomenal process when you have it down. If you want to totally escape your brick and mortar, you can do that. If you want to see people on your level, your time, you can do that. I'm also going to teach you how to charge higher prices so you can serve less people if you want to, and then do your internet business as a side hustle eventually until that overtakes the primary, like what happened to me essentially. So any questions, post them down below. Would love to have you in Atlantis in the Bahamas and or in the Atlanta at the Social Media Revenue Summit. How much money are you losing though by not having these sequencing protocols in place, by not having your custom audiences built, and not having an actual proven strategy that will help you lead that person from point A to point B in a very elegant way so that they trust you, they know you, they want to do business with you. Don't let that $220,000 mistake happen to you. All right, hopefully you found some value out of this training. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Ciao.